In 1946, basketball history was made with the founding of the Basketball Association of America, or BAA. This new league began with 11 teams divided into East and West divisions. In the East, fans cheered for the Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, Philadelphia Warriors, Providence Steamrollers, Toronto Huskies, and Washington Capitals. Over in the West, the Chicago Stags, Cleveland Rebels, Detroit Falcons, Pittsburgh Ironmen, and St. Louis Bombers took to the courts showcasing their talent. However, the inaugural season proved challenging and 4 teams were unable to continue. The Cleveland Rebels, Detroit Falcons, Pittsburgh Ironmen, and Toronto Huskies folded after just 1 season, reducing the league's roster. In 1947, the Baltimore Bullets joined the league and the season was played with 8 teams. The following year, in 1948, the Fort Wayne Pistons, Minnesota Lakers, and Rochester Royals joined the BAA in the Western Conference. By the end of this season, the Providence Steamrollers folded in the Eastern Conference. The year 1949 was significant as the BAA merged with the National Basketball League to form the National Basketball Association, or NBA. 6 teams from the NBL joined the league: Syracuse Nationals in the East, and the Anderson Packers, Denver Nuggets, Sheboygan Redskins, Tri-Cities Black Hawks, and Waterloo Hawks. The Indianapolis Olympians also joined as an expansion team. With this merger, a new Central Division was created, consisting of the Chicago Stags, Fort Wayne Pistons, Minneapolis Lakers, Rochester Royals, and the St. Louis Bombers. However, by the end of the 1949-50 season, the Chicago Stags and St. Louis Bombers folded and several teams left for the National Professional Basketball League, resulting in the league reverting back to just the Eastern and Western divisions. In 1950, the Washington Capitals folded midway through the season, leaving the NBA with 10 teams in total. The Tri-City Hawks moved to Milwaukee in 1951, becoming the Milwaukee Hawks. By the 1953-54 season, the Indianapolis Olympians folded, followed by the Baltimore Bullets in the 1954-55 season. In 1955, the Milwaukee Hawks relocated to St. Louis. 2 years later, in 1957, the Fort Wayne Pistons moved to Detroit, becoming the Detroit Pistons, and the Rochester Royals moved to Cincinnati, becoming the Cincinnati Royals. The Minneapolis Lakers made a major move to Los Angeles in 1960, becoming the Los Angeles Lakers. In 1961, the Chicago Packers joined the league in the Western Division. The Philadelphia Warriors relocated to San Francisco in 1962, becoming the San Francisco Warriors. The Chicago Packers became the Chicago Zephyrs. The next year, the Chicago Zephyrs moved to Baltimore, becoming the Baltimore Bullets, and the Syracuse Nationals moved to Philadelphia, becoming the Philadelphia 76ers. In 1966, the Chicago Bulls were created and placed in the Western Division, while the Baltimore Bullets moved to the Eastern Division. In 1967, the San Diego Rockets and Seattle Supersonics were created and entered the Western Division, moving the Detroit Pistons to the Eastern Conference. The Milwaukee Bucks were created in 1968 and were placed in the East, while the Phoenix Suns joined the Western Division. The St. Louis Hawks moved to Atlanta but remained in the Western Division. The year 1970 brought the creation of the Buffalo Braves, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Portland Trail Blazers. The league restructured into the Western Conference, with the Midwest and Pacific divisions, and the Eastern Conference with the Atlantic and the Central divisions. In 1971, the San Diego Rockets relocated to Houston, becoming the Houston Rockets, and the San Francisco Warriors became the Golden State Warriors. The Cincinnati Royals moved to Kansas City in 1972, becoming the Kings and shifting the Houston Rockets to the Central Division and the Phoenix Suns into the Pacific Division. In 1973, the Baltimore Bullets became the Capital Bullets after moving to Washington, D.C. The New Orleans Jazz joined the league in 1974 as its 18th team, placed in the Central Division, and the Capital Bullets were renamed the Washington Bullets. The Kansas City Omaha Kings became the Kansas City Kings in 1975, deciding to play full-time in Kansas City. The ABA-NBA merger in the 1976-77 season brought 4 ABA franchises into the NBA: the Denver Nuggets, Indiana Pacers, New York Nets, and San Antonio Spurs. In 1977, the New York Nets moved to New Jersey, becoming the New Jersey Nets. The Buffalo Braves relocated to San Diego in 1978, becoming the San Diego Clippers, which moved the Clippers to the Pacific Division, the Detroit Pistons to the Central, and the Washington Bullets to the Atlantic. In 1979, the New Orleans Jazz relocated to Salt Lake City, becoming the Utah Jazz, resulting in the Jazz moving to the Midwest Division and the Indiana Pacers moving to the Central Division. The Dallas Mavericks were enfranchised in 1980 as the league's 23rd team, placed in the Midwest Division, causing the Houston Rockets and San Antonio Spurs to join the Mavericks in the Midwest, and the Chicago Bulls and Milwaukee Bucks to move to the Central Division. In 1984, the San Diego Clippers moved to Los Angeles, becoming the Los Angeles Clippers. The Kansas City Kings relocated to Sacramento in 1985, becoming the Sacramento Kings. The league expanded in 1988 with the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat bringing the league to 25 teams. The Hornets were placed in the Atlantic Division, the Heat in the Midwest Division, and the Sacramento Kings moved to the Pacific Division. The Minnesota Timberwolves and Orlando Magic joined in 1989, bringing the league to 27 teams, with the Timberwolves in the Midwest Division and the Magic in the Central Division. The Charlotte Hornets moved to the Midwest and the Miami Heat to the Atlantic. In 1990, the Charlotte Hornets moved to the Central Division and the Orlando Magic moved to the Midwest. The following year, the Magic moved to the Atlantic Division to reduce travel after spending a season in the Western Conference. In 1995, the NBA expanded into Canada, introducing the Toronto Raptors and the Vancouver Grizzlies, bringing the league to 29 teams. The Raptors were placed in the Central Division and the Grizzlies in the Midwest. The Washington Bullets were renamed the Washington Wizards in 1997. In 2001, the Vancouver Grizzlies moved to Memphis, becoming the Memphis Grizzlies. The Charlotte Hornets moved to New Orleans in 2002, becoming the New Orleans Hornets. The Charlotte Bobcats were enfranchised in 2004 as the league's 30th team, leading to a realignment with 3 divisions in each conference. The New Orleans Hornets moved to the Western Conference. Due to Hurricane Katrina, the Hornets played home games in both New Orleans and Oklahoma City from 2005 to 2007, officially as the New Orleans Oklahoma City Hornets. The Seattle Supersonics moved to Oklahoma City in 2008, becoming the Oklahoma City Thunder. The New Jersey Nets moved to Brooklyn in 2012, becoming the Brooklyn Nets. The New Orleans Hornets were renamed the New Orleans Pelicans in 2013. Finally, in 2014, the Charlotte Bobcats were renamed the Charlotte Hornets after the New Orleans Pelicans returned to the original Charlotte Hornets name, history and records from 1988 to 2002 to the city of Charlotte.